Hello. All right. I would like to do a bit of a recurring series on this channel where we talk about the film awards this season leading up to the Oscars. And I want to do this because I watch these kind of videos. I'm constantly watching Oscar analysis videos, and I care about this shit, and I follow it really closely. So you know why not talk about it, right? I mean, I acknowledge to some extent that the Oscars are dumb, but at the same time, it's fun. It's fun. It's something I enjoy. And the way I think of it is, a lot of people have, the Super Bowl, they have the World Series, they have the Olympics. This is like my version of those things. This is like, my major competitive event of the year. So I care, and we are going to talk about it. And if you're also interested in topics such as these, or maybe just want to get some insight on what the haps is, it'll be a regular thing. And there's other regular segments I want to do. I feel weird having like regular recurring segments because it makes my channel feel like a channel, which is weird. But it might as well be a channel if I'm going to make a channel. um all right, so let's talk about this. So every year we get a ton of precursor ceremonies, right, leading up to the Oscars, which this year are on March 2nd, right at the beginning of March, which is definitely earlier than it's been the past couple of years. So we have a ton of this shit coming up, but as is, we're right about here. I checked for Indiana. They haven't announced yet, but, hopefully soon. But we have seen a number of, of critics guilds name their films of the year, and just going through those quickly. I will say, Awards Watch, this is what I use to keep track of the awards now. Metacritic used to have this award scorecard where they would keep track of everything in a really easy to follow way, and that was really nice. But I guess they're not doing it anymore because the universe is cruel. So now I got to do it using this site. Um, anyway, they said these were the Gotham Awards winners, but they lied. Nobody really cares about the Gotham Awards anyway, but they are kind of the first one, they're kicking off the season. And, is it been, yeah, a different man one, which is odd. I mean, just because it's not having that much of a great response elsewhere. But as you can see, I mean, these were kind of unconventional nominees from the start. I mean, Anora isn't, but Baby Girl and Challengers haven't done super well so far in this category. Nickel Boys is kind of on the bubble, but yeah, A Different Man. I don't know that anybody else even nominated A Different Man, let alone had it win. But it was a film I was really interested in. I really wanted to see it. It got a terrible release. Apparently, didn't play anywhere near me. Hopefully, it'll be on streaming. But I am very curious to check it out. They gave Best Director to Ramel Ross for Nickel Boys. He won in a couple of other places, as you will see. Now, this is a thing. A lot of the guilds are doing. A lot of the awards purveyors in general, I guess, are doing these combined performance categories because they don't like dividing it up by gender now, since gender is like a societal construct. But I like it when it's divided up because that's more categories and more competition. But I mean, I get it. I get it. Anyway, Coleman Domingo, Clarence Macklin both won for Sing Sing here, which makes sense. Those are both incredible performances. And yeah, Nickel Boys won Breakthrough. So basically, Sing Sing, Nickel Boys, and A Different Man for the Gothams. I'll get better at this, I promise. Let's see here. New York named The Brutalist, which is something you're going to be seeing a lot. I haven't gotten a chance to see The Brutalist yet. It's coming out in December. I'm very excited to see it. I've heard crazy good shit about it, so I can't wait. Best director, Nickel Boys. Best actor, Adrian Brody. He's been winning a lot. Marianne Jean-Baptiste been winning a lot. Kieran Culkin, you'll see, has been kind of dominating the season so far. And this was nice. Carol Kane for Between the Temples. I really enjoyed that performance. She's super likable in that movie, so I'm glad to see her get in. And then, Nickel Boys has been winning cinematography all over the place. Honora has quite a few screenplay wins so far. And this is an interesting one for animated film. I thought The Wild Robot was just going to dominate the season, but it's this movie called Flow is getting in a lot of places, which I think is like a French movie about a cat or something. I don't know. National Board of Review gave it to Wicked, and this was an interesting moment because, Wicked, it seems like one of those movies where it's going to be a crowd pleaser, but it's not going to be, a big player at these major award shows. But the way this season is going, it actually kind of seems like it will be. It seems like, it's going to be a player in picture, in director, in actress, in supporting actress, in screenplay, in a lot of categories. So we got to watch out for it. I wasn't even necessarily planning to see it, but I feel like I am going to have to check it out just based on how well it's doing, based on word of mouth. Daniel Craig winning for Queer. He has picked up quite a few nominations, a couple of wins. He's not leading the category, but, he's doing pretty good. Nicole Kidman for Baby Girl, kind of the same thing, kind of a very, well-reviewed, well-appreciated performance, but not overwhelmingly so. AFI, they just do their top 10 every year. No huge surprises here. This is, I think, pretty much what you'd expect to see. Boston gave it to Honora, which is a trend you'll see a lot. Best Picture going to Honora, Director going to Honora, Actress. Best Ensemble going to Sing Sing, as you'll see. That's a pretty common thing, too. Edward Norton winning for A Complete Unknown is, he wins occasionally, but it's not, he's certainly not leading in the category. Danielle Deadwyler, though, she's doing really well in supporting actress. She's doing better than I thought she would so far, but we will see. Let's see. Los Angeles, gave it to Honora yet again. Runner-up was The Brutalist, though. Gave it to the guy for The Seed of the Sacred Fig for director. That's interesting. And once again, this is another organization that combines performance awards. So you had 2 actresses winning for lead performance and 2 actors winning for supporting performance, including Yura Borazov for Honora, which I'm really happy to see. I hope that guy gets an Oscar nomination because I love that character. Let's see, we had Washington, D.C., too. And they gave it to Wicked. This is the second group to give it to Wicked. Director to The Brutalist, Coleman Domingo, Mikey Madison, Kieran Culkin, Danielle Deadwyler. These are all pretty standard winners, except for Wicked, which I really did not see coming earlier. It's becoming much more of a player than I thought it would be. I will say that. And then Atlanta, they gave it to Honora too. So you're kind of seeing a trend here. Things repeating. Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, Mikey Madison for Honora, Kieran Culkin for Real Pain. Yeah, but once again, Wicked surprising with supporting actress with Ariana Grande, and as you'll see, she's doing surprisingly well. But the big thing we got to get into is the Globes. That's kind of the most major precursor we got going on, and there are some pretty big surprises here. Number one, you got the nominees for Best Motion Picture Drama, and they have 6 nominees in every category this year, which seems excessive. But you will notice no Sing Sing. Sing Sing got nominated for Best Actor, didn't get nominated for much else. So that's kind of a bummer. Also, The Substance, which is my favorite film so far this year, has overperformed, which is fantastic. Got nominated for musical or comedy picture, which, kind of set me aback for a sec. And I mean, I guess it is a comedy, it's a satire, but it's such a fucked up, intense movie that I really didn't think of it as a comedy. But I guess you could call it a comedy. I guess I understand that. But yeah, it got nominated for picture. It got nominated for director, which was fantastic to see. It got nominated for actress. Got nominated for supporting actress for Margaret Qualley, which was very much deserved. She hasn't been getting as much notice as I would like. It got nominated for screenplay, so I was super happy to see all that shit. I was very excited by all of that. So overall, because Metacritic isn't cataloging this shit anymore, I've been cataloging it, and I've been keeping to their grading rubric, which as far as I recall, which is basically if you win a category, you get 3 points. If you are the designated runner-up in a category, not all precursors designate runners-up, but if they say this film is officially in second place, that gets 2 points, and if it just gets the nomination, it gets 1 point. Right, so you can see what the current standings are here. Oh, and also the stars. If it wins, I give it a star, and that's just in case of ties. If two films get the same amount of points, you can count the stars, and that's how I settle ties, if you were curious. So, I mean, Anora is leading in feature right now by a pretty wide margin. The Brutalist in second place, as you would pretty much expect at this point. But then Wicked is like a very strong third right now, which is, interesting. Then you got Conclave, which I thought was fucking boring, but, what can you do? I'm in the minority, I guess. I just don't like movies about the Pope. I would prefer movies not contain the Pope. Then Sing Sing, which, I will say a lot of people are saying because Sing Sing didn't get the Globe nomination for Best Picture, didn't get supporting actor for Clarence Macklin and all of that, it's pretty much dead in the water. And I don't think that at all. I mean, you can see here it's doing quite well. It's performing in the top 5 here. So I mean, I wouldn't count it out just yet. But yeah, I mean, Dune, Challengers, Nickel. When you get down here, you get to some of the more interesting stuff, like Nickel Boys, The Substance with 5 points. So I'm pulling for The Substance. I saw the TV Glow has gotten a couple of nominations, which is nice. And, Gladiator 2 has been really underperforming, as you'd kind of expect if you've seen it. Director is close. I mean, while Anora has kind of is running away with picture, Brady Corbett is actually 1 point above Sean Baker right now for The Brutalist. So that's interesting. And then in third, we got Nickel Boys. So Nickel Boys is definitely performing well with the critics groups. That was, one that was kind of, it's kind of on the bubble just because I haven't seen it yet. I'm excited to, but I've heard it's like a very artsy movie, kind of an experimental movie. So it's nice that people are giving it a shot. And yeah, John M. Chu for Wicked is once again, top 5 movies doing surprisingly well. Coraline Fargott's right behind him for The Substance. Let's fucking go. Adrian Brody is leading Coleman Domingo, an actor, right now by literally 1 point. It's an incredibly close race right now. And then you got Timothy Chalamet and Daniel Craig, both doing quite well, and Ray Fiennes doing, as much as Conclave bored me pretty substantially. I mean, Ray Fiennes is good, and he's always good. And you got Hugh Grant right now with 3 points, which I'm hoping he gets more. I'm pulling for Hugh this season. And then, Sebastian Stan is up for 2 movies, but he isn't really doing crazy good with either of them, with A Different Man and with The Apprentice. I did find it funny. Like Sean Penn the other day, was like he made this like big angry speech about how like the Academy is in Trump's pocket and they're not gonna acknowledge The Apprentice and they're not gonna nominate Sebastian Stan and it's all like rigged and shit. And it's just like then what are you angry about? The nominations haven't come out yet. Like fucking calm down, Sean Penn. All right. I mean, actress is pretty open and shut at this point. Mikey Madison, as you would expect for Honora, is kind of killing it. But right up there in the runner up slot is Maureen Jean Baptiste for Hard Truths, which is a new Mike Leigh movie, which I've heard it looks like it might be fun. She's basically being an asshole to everybody for 90 minutes, which sounds entertaining. And then you got right here in third, Demi Moore for The Substance. I'm pulling for you, Demi. Supporting actor, kind of the same thing as with actress. We have a clear front runner, Kieran Culkin and Real Pain, doing real well. But Clarence Macklin in second place for Sing Sing, and I personally preferred that performance. And I also preferred Yura Borisov and Honora, who's right up there too. And Guy Pearce is there for The Brutalist as well, which once again I haven't seen it yet. We'll see it soon, but I don't think Guy Pearce. No, Guy Pearce has never gotten an Oscar nomination, so I'd be very happy to see him get one this year. He's a great, really underrated, really versatile actor. And then you got Denzel for Gladiator 2, which as mixed and overall negative as I was on Gladiator 2, Denzel was fucking awesome in it. So I would be fine with him getting an Oscar nomination. Supporting actress is interesting. I mean, Danielle Deadwyler is leading it right now for A Piano Lesson, but Ariana Grande is right there. It's real close. And then you got Carol Kane in there too. Well behind them, but doing pretty well for herself. And a couple of people nominated Joan Chen for Dee Dee too, which made me happy. I really loved her performance in that. And yeah, despite getting the Globe nomination, Margaret Qualley's not doing too well for The Substance, which is a bummer. Screenplay, the big players here are definitely A Real Pain and Honora. Honora's leading right now by 5 points, so that's a pretty decent margin. Adapted screenplay is a lot closer. It's basically down to Conclave and Nickel Boys. They're like neck and neck. And then Sing Sing beneath that. There is a bit of a discrepancy here because not all of these groups divide it into original screenplay and adapted screenplay. A lot of them just have a screenplay category. So sometimes I got to go in there and do research and figure out which screenplays are adapted screenplays so I can slot them in the right place and shit. Cinematography, Nickel Boys is leading, Nosferatu and The Brutalist behind that. Nickel Boys, I've heard, is like all shot from like the POVs of the characters. It sounds very interesting. It sounds like the cinematography is like a huge part of why that movie works. And then editing, we don't have a lot of data to go on here, and you'll see that in some of the lower categories as well. But yeah, I mean, right now it's Dune, it's Honora, and it's the September 5th movie, which I don't know much about, but I do know it's about the Olympic Munich massacre, the same horrifying event that Steven Spielberg movie Munich is about. But this time it's told from the point of view of like the newscasters. Like I think it's like the ABC news team who are covering it. I don't know. Documentary, I know nothing about any of these movies, but No Other Land and Sugarcane are running away with it. So if you know what those are, good for you. I have heard of this one, Superman, the Christopher Reeve story. I heard it was a nice emotional movie, but that's in third, so that's swell. Animated film, yeah, this is like I said. I thought Wild Robot was going to run away with it, but it's not happening. It's not happening. Flow is leading it by a pretty decent margin so far, so that intrigues me. All We Imagine Is Light is really leading the international feature category, though not too far off. Seed of the Sacred Fig, which I do remember making kind of a splash during the festival season. Score, Once again, not a ton of info to go on, but Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross are leading it for Challengers, which is interesting because, like, I did really enjoy their music in Challengers, but I thought the way it was used in the movie was like a little invasive at times. Like sometimes it was perfect, but sometimes it was like a little overbearing. I don't know, but it's a cool score. Song, we have basically nothing to go on right now. Diane Warren is winning it currently for whatever. I mean, nobody even needs to see the movies that Diane Warren is writing songs for. She just writes songs for some obscure movie that nobody's even heard of and gets an Oscar nomination every time. So that's not a surprise. Production design, basically a showdown between The Brutalist and Wicked. Visual effects, basically no information to go on right now. Same with costume design. We'll fill these out throughout the season. Sound design. These are all categories that a lot of the precursors leave out. But hopefully by the end of this whole thing, we'll have enough data to actually draw some conclusions from those. And then, the other one I keep track of is ensemble cast, which is obviously not an Academy Awards category, but it is, is relevant. It's interesting to follow. I mean, especially because the ensemble cast award at the Screen Actors Guild, every year does like correlate strongly with the Oscars and especially with Best Picture. So it's interesting to follow. And right here, neck and neck, are Sing Sing, which I very much understand, and Conclave, which I understand less, but fine. So, anyway, that is my thrilling, pulse pounding awards analysis for this week, and we'll see where it goes. Bye.